What's the connection between curiosity and conflict?
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting because I set out to write this book about conflict and disagreement, thinking that it was a completely different subject to curiosity. Um, and I realized in some ways it's a kind of part two, um,
Right.
because curiosity is kind of the antidote to hostility and the kind of hostility and polarization that can set in
Mm.
to any disagreement, whether it's a political disagreement, red versus blue in the States, or just, even in a boardroom, you get
Right.
polarization and people not listening to each other, people getting angry at each other and mistaking a difference of opinion for a personal attack, right? These things happen all the time. And one of the big, most powerful antidotes to that is curiosity. If you're faced with someone and they are saying something that you completely disagree with, you're going to have a very strong instinct to dismiss them as
Right.
stupid or evil. If you
Mm.
put yourself into a different mindset and say, "Well, hang on a minute, I'm never going to agree with this person, right? So that's put that to one side. It doesn't really matter. I can be interested in how they arrived at this point of view." And actually you can always be interested and say, "Well,
Yeah.
how did you get here?" And just to I'm giving a long answer to your question, but what this is one of the lessons that I learned when I interviewed for the book. I interviewed expert interrogators. So
Right.
really effective interrogators do not do what you see in the movies, which is, they don't walk into the room and sort of bang the table and say, "You got to tell me what you know. I'm going to throw the book at you."
Right.
They do in a way that's what the suspect expects, and if they're a trained, uh,
Right.
if they're trained to resist this kind of thing, which many of them are, it's kind of easy for them. They just shut down.
Right.
The really expert ones walk in there and they say, "Look, I can't tell you, I can't make you tell me anything, right? If you don't want to talk, it's your legal right not to talk. You can actually leave the room
Right.
if you want." Um, but I have to say, I'm really interested in how you got here. I would like to know that. And
Right.
and and by the way, and the key about this is that they don't they know it works, but they're not doing it cynically because they are genuinely interested. That the really good
Right.
interrogators are absolutely curious about these people. They do want to know. You can't actually fake it, or if you can fake it badly, it'll probably backfire. Um, and so, and they are putting aside what they may think this person is a terrible person, right? But maybe this person tried to kill their colleagues or succeeded. Who knows? They have to put all that
Yeah.
stuff aside and just get interested, right? And I kind of think, well, if they can do it, I can do it in some petty
Right.
dispute with my colleague or a member of my
Right.
family, whatever. Just let your curiosity unfurl, and that can make a lot of disagreement go better.
Feels to me in that in both curiosity and playing a role in productive conflict involves you being willing to give up something, maybe give up status or authority, and willing to kind of cede that ground to, um, as you say in your book, not one up the person, but kind of allow them to one up you, so that they
Yeah.
feel that they have authority and face and a degree of control. And that's all well and good in theory, but in practice, that's extremely difficult. I'm curious to know how you nurture that willingness to cede authority and status.
I think that's absolutely right. Well, the first thing is you have to kind of think about it and be aware of these dynamics, right? I mean, that's kind of
Mm.
the mission of the book, really, is to help us all be a little bit more aware of why disagreements go wrong. They don't, it's not
Right.
inevitable. You can make them go better, not always, right? It's not always possible, but there's usually a lot more you can do to make them go better. And yeah, you're right. It's a status. The reason that they go wrong is often because they just become a power struggle. They become a kind of battle of people asserting their status in the
Mm.
conversation, and you can help that, or you can avoid that, at least to some extent, in two ways. One, by controlling your own ego, not letting that get out of control. That's hard enough, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But the other thing you can do is is help them manage their own ego. You know, help them feel good about where they are in the conversation, which might mean, complimenting them, or showing them some respect, or showing them that you like them, or finding some
Mm.
thing that you agree on, or that you both feel the same way about, and then getting to the hard part of the disagreement. But you're trying to settle them as well as settle yourself before really getting into the tough part. So yeah, there are things you can do, but I agree it's hard, but that's why we need to kind of think of it as a skill that you educate yourself in, and you practice, and you get better at over time.
Hey, it's MBS here. If you've picked up a copy of my book, The Advice Trap, well, make sure you go to theadvicetrap.com. Not only is there a process for taming your advice monster, but there are downloads on how to ask a question powerfully well.